Hello, everyone, and welcome to a segment I'm entitling the SPL Recap. Now, I know a lot of people are doing like podcasts. F. Dot is doing a great series where he did kind of like a weekend review of the SPL. I thought that was awesome and inspires me to do my own one because the more opinions and more discussion we have about Smite, the better. And there's a lot of people doing podcasts, and I don't really necessarily want to do the long style format. I think those are really great, but I don't think that's my style. I prefer these kind of shorter videos, nice and quick, really easily digestible content, whereas the podcasts I think serve a different purpose, something really nice to listen to and sit down and dedicate to more in-depth discussion. But as the name sounds like, and as you might have guessed, this is just going to be kind of a brief recap of the SPL of each week. So we're going to do week number 1 first. We're going to go through each of the days, basically talk a little bit about each of the games, my thoughts on the games, my thoughts on the players in the games and the teams, how they're looking, and how my kind of opinion of the season is shaping up. With that being said, let's look at week number 1 right now. And week number 1 provided some amazing Smite for us and some really unexpected results, particularly in North America. But start with our first set, and it was a banger. It was Energy taking on Rival. Rival coming back from going down in game 1 to win it 2-1 against Energy. Really explosive series, and I think really highlighting the talent on both of those teams. Even though Energy lost the set, I still have them kind of as my third place team. They're split with potential to be even second. I think Rival looked really good. Particularly in the past, they've struggled playing online, but it seems like maybe they've got over some of those issues. Our next set was MOUZ versus SK. Both these teams looked about the way I thought they were. MOUZ was pretty inventive with some of their picks, as they were in one of their later sets as well. And SK, unfortunately, didn't look great, although they looked strong in the game that they did take, but I just don't think that they're up to the same level as the kind of top 3 or 4 in the region. After MOUZ defeated SK, they took on Team Dignitas and pulled out some crazy picks and stuff there as well. But Dignitas, this is the team, and maybe I'm a little bit biased because I know the guys on the team, particularly the coach Biggie, but I have to agree with F. Dot when he said in his video, which you should check, and I'm going to link it down below as well, when he said that he thinks Team Dignitas are the best team in Europe, and that they would have done some damage at Worlds had they made it. And they only missed Worlds by this much. And Team Dignitas, they're kind of my personal pick to win Europe, at least this split. See how they go up against the likes of Space Station Gaming now that Andy's back in the jungle. But in Europe, they're my number 1 team right now. I tweeted this out in my own personal power rankings and stuff like that. But Dignitas, they look solid. They didn't look flustered. They look like standard old Dig. Really great performance from them in both games. Though MOUZ did make it interesting. And so that's big props to them. And hopefully, and that kind of speaks to the SPL as a whole this week, was all very interesting. Rival taking on Obey was disappointing, to say the least. I kind of figured this would be the way with Obey and Energy in at least week number 1, where they're both getting used to new supports and I guess new leaders on the team, because Rafa used to really lead Energy on Obey. Now Rafa's going to come in and lead that team where maybe they didn't have that before, or was coming through Coach HughZ. Energy now, they need to find leadership elsewhere. They've got in a coach now with my friend Ro. Emilzi's joined the team. A number of them are in the team house down in Spain. So predicted some struggles for them in week number 1, but I didn't expect this much of a struggle for Obey, where they just didn't look great. I still think that they're slightly above MOUZ, but the gap that I saw between Obey and MOUZ is really a lot. I think might be a lot slighter than what I previously envisioned. Alrighty, let's take a look at the North American side of things now, and we kick things off with possibly the greatest upset the SPL has seen this year, which is not many results that's had this year, but I would say it might even be the biggest upset we've had in the last 2 years. With Luminosity, Weekend and his merry band of low-tier players, according to power rankings, my own opinion as well, and lots of other videos and power rankings you've seen out there, Weekend and his band of misfits 2-0'd the defending world champions. I mean, what do you say to that? Like, I don't know, man. E United did not look strong at all. Did not look good at all. And Luminosity, quite frankly, looked like a notch above E United in that set. Weekend played out of his skin. HughZ coming over from the console side of things really impressed me. Really, really impressed me. Particularly because even he's not only transitioning over from console, he's transitioning roles as well, away from ADC and into the mid lane. Now, mages are strongish at the moment, but still, very, very impressed with Luminosity. I'd be even more impressed if Vitium or Vedium, whichever one of those two he used to be called, or would like to have been called out of the two, if he goes back to that and not Clout. I know Ocean's played in this set, but just come on, man. I'm begging you, change your name back, please. Alright, Splice, take it on CLG. This set kind of went the way I thought. I think these two teams are relatively I say they're close in terms of the power rankings, but I think CLG has got just that little bit of an edge over them. Hurrywind and Homie FA both looked absolutely fantastic. Fino K did a great job against Devios, one of the best solo laners that there is, and in the duo lane side of thing, Snoopy and Jigs, two mechanically solid, two intelligent players, did their jobs. But the story of the series for me was really Hurrywind and Homie FA, both of whom have had a reputation of being really great players, but never being kind of these best in the world players. And now, if they can kind of get to that level during the split, CLG is going to look really dangerous. And they show kind of flashes of that during the performance against Splice and later in the week as well. Then they came up against Trifecta. And again, they take that series 2-1. And I think the story of this series is not CLG dropping a game against Trifecta. It's more Trifecta picking up a game against Counterlogic Gaming. And with United's performance this week, I see CLG probably as the second best team in the North American region, and Trifecta managed to take a game off them. And it was really impressive. This looked to be a team that had banded together purely for kind of the sake of having an SPL spot, if you know what I mean. It's kind of guys that really couldn't make it on many other teams. Mask was either departed or was let go out of the old Luminosity group. Scary D was left out of the old Space Station group. Met Yankee was just, hadn't really impressed anyone in the last split. Neil Ma was pretty impressive when he had joined the Noble guys in place of Wubben, and I guess he joined this team. And then Zapman had kind of been left a little bit adrift as well. And then they formed this Trifecta roster, and I, along with a lot of other people, kind of wrote them and Luminosity off as being kind of the filler teams of the North American League. But both of those teams, I'm happy to say, I love being proved wrong with these kind of things. They absolutely proved me wrong that they are not the filler teams. And North America, this split, is going to be one of the most exciting regions and one of the most difficult regions to call. And Trifecta pick up a key game against Counterlogic Gaming. Mask looked really, really good, showing flashes of kind of his old form on Luminosity when everyone kind of thought, okay, this is the reason they picked up Mask. And yeah, I'm very happy that he's doing well on this roster, and I hope that Trifecta as a whole do well and make North America as competitive as possible, because then we can get some more of those great inter-region rivalries between Europe and North America. Space Station versus E-United. Something like a 56-minute game one, an absolute slugfest going back and forth. Both teams very close to winning the first game, but Space Station ultimately pulled through, and then kind of the momentum from that carries over to game two. A big game one like that, it's no surprise to me that E-United lost the second game, because it is really crushing to lose such a long game like that. And now, what's really crazy is that E-United started off the split 0-4. 0-5 if you're going to count the Vegas show match, but I'm not really, because Cardiac was playing, PBM was in the jungle, all sorts of craziness. Even though he did solo basket, so we'll give him props for that. But I think E-United is better than their 0-4 start suggests, but at the same time, they're a lot worse than where I thought they were going to be this season. They are the defending world champions. They beat the best teams in Europe. They beat Obey. They beat Rival who beat Energy in a best-of-5 set. And it is very difficult to beat Energy in a best-of-5 set. But they did it. And then they come to the finals, and E-United wins 3-1. And they, after the whole craziness of stealing the Fire Giant, the Portal Demon. And so E-United made clutch plays there. They looked fantastic. And then they started out this season 0-4. So in kind of my personal rankings, they've dropped down a few spots. Space Station, though, looked really good. Looked really, really good. Seeing, they said themselves, and, I'll admit this as a fan watching, there was some sloppiness, some, kind of things that would get punished if they're up against a team like Dignitas. But those things are going to get corrected with a team with Anderson and Barra and Jeff on it, and Baskin especially. Baskin looked insane. Baskin is a fantastic player. Everyone's saying he's best in the world again. I really hope so, because it is so entertaining to have a talent like that in the field of playing professional Smite. It was adapting for a while. A lot of people kind of caught up to him. Now Baskin seems to kind of be pulling away from the pack in the mid lane, and that just makes everyone else have to catch up to him. And this is crazy where the world's MVP was Veneno. But Space Station looked really good. Then they're coming up against Trifecta, and they win 2-1, and that's it. And again, the story is Trifecta able to pick up a game against one of the top 2 teams in North America. It doesn't get them any competition points, but still, they managed to take a game away from them, and teams like Splice, teams like E United, teams like Luminosity have got to be looking at this Trifecta roster being like, can't underestimate these guys. We have to take them seriously. And I think that's great. And that's kind of a benefit of this new SPL system where you have to take every single one of your opponents seriously. There is no easy games in this new SPL. And there were no easy games this week in the Smite Pro League. And that does us for week number 1 there. Just some kind of final thoughts to add. I'm glad that Hi-Rez took on so much feedback and made changes so quickly from what people were saying, to do with graphics, to do with stream settings, the interactiveness in chat from the admins like Overin and Vinny and Rude and Cooper and everyone is fantastic. And I think it brings a really good experience. The numbers on Mixer as well exceeded my personal expectations. So shout outs to you guys, the Smite fans, for showing up and showing your love for the game. It's obviously not perfect. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to be worked on, but I think it was a really good first step. And I can't wait to see what they do this week, and hope that they still take all that feedback on board and continue to implement it for success. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'll put some links down in the description. As I mentioned, I'm going to put a link to FDot's video about his Week 1 SPL recap. I'll put some links to my socials and everything like that. Please subscribe and like to the video. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this. Hopefully we'll be doing some more Smite content, because I love talking about Smite, and the SPL this split is looking to be one of the best ever, and I just can't wait to see what these teams produce for us in terms of gameplay, and as well as the other content as well that we've seen going around. If there's anything else you'd like me to do, or if you have any ideas for me, I'm very receptive to that kind of stuff, so please let me know down in the comments. If there's anything I can improve with this, please let me know as well. And yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Catch you next time.